Well, we're back at the shop today during the Christmas break. I hope everybody's having a good holiday season. I haven't shot a video in a while. I actually got sick for a while, ended up with pneumonia. That took me out for a good month. Well, I'm back down at the shop today. It's a little cold. Got my vest on. I actually had to turn off the heater because it's pretty loud and I can't shoot video doing that. But this is pretty much the start of, I'm still riding the RZR. I've done a little bit of snow riding, mainly for rescue stuff. We had a real bad snow a couple weeks ago where we got 8 to 15 inches, and generally that doesn't happen around here, and it cuts power off for a little while. So I got to ride up in the snow and move some people around and that thing, kind of thing. I got a couple of little things. I got a USB port that I actually got last Christmas that I didn't get installed during the off season. We're going to try to get that installed. Just kind of wanted to go over real quick. One thing I wanted to point out, I do have really nice tools, and not that these aren't nice. These are from Harbor Freight, Pittsburgh. These right here stay in the RZR in a pack, which are really important. I also have a torque set of these as well. But if you haven't put together like a little toolkit, it doesn't have to be anything major. Put something in your RZR. I don't know how many times, and these are even friends that I ride with. We get somewhere and they don't have anything, or they don't have the right things. A couple things that I wanted to point out. One is a clutch cover tool, or a nut driver, and basically all that is a proper size nut driver. And what you want to do is look on Amazon and find a heater hose tool, and what that is just a big long thing. I'll put a link for it down in the description if you want to get one. I mean, they're like $13 or so on Amazon. But basically, although ours is a nut driver that has a flexible shaft, and it always has the right nut driver. One thing I've run into is a lot of times I'll hand it to someone and I'll be using it for a water heater. Not the one on the RZR, but the one I have in my toolbox. It's reversible, so always make sure that you have the nut driver itself actually comes off and flips around. Make sure that you have the right size. But those work really well for taking a clutch cover off and replacing a belt out on the trail. This is another thing good to have. The main reason I have these out now is because I have to take off this windshield. I want to add that USB port and this Coolpin windshield, which is a 2-part windshield. This piece doesn't move, so it's up against my dash, so I need to be able to lift that up just a little bit to get my dash back out to cut the holes out. One thing, if you're putting switches in that I've seen, a lot of people will actually cut through the front side of the dash. Don't do that. If you actually take the dash out, there are already slots, and you can take a utility knife and go into those slots and actually cut out square holes or rectangular holes that are switch size. So Polaris is already equipped. I think in my RZR, I think it's 4 switches. I think if you have the ride command, it actually adds a few switches to it. And there's other places on the RZR to put switches, but definitely use the stock locations first. And just keep in mind that Polaris has actually put in the mold slots that you can stick a utility knife in and cut out the proper size hole. You don't have to cut it from the front, or you can't see anything. It looks like just a solid piece of plastic, and it's not. Okay, so we're gonna get this windshield loose. I don't know how much we'll get done today. It's really cold down here in the shop. I've got it heated up to around in the 50s. I think outside it's 29, 30 degrees, something like that. Okay, we're just pulling this off. I'm going to actually use a really quick tool since I'm in the garage. I'll be using the nice Bondus hex wrench. These the ones that I bought come in a stand. You can get them, I think, in a container. They're really expensive. They work really good. There's some things they won't reach because of their design. I mean, this is relatively short, but if these work, these are really good to get. I don't put these on my RZR. I use those Pittsburgh ones. But this is what I'm going to use to pull this windshield off really fast. And basically, it's just 4 screws. One thing on the RZR, this little divot that's in the center, as long as the parts aren't too small, there's actually 2 little drain holes. This little place right here makes an excellent place to put screws. And it also is removable, so if it gets down to it and you need to be in that space, you can always take that off and set it somewhere. This is a good place to keep up with screws. So this should just lift off. One thing I do like about this coupling is the mounts stay on, so you know I'm not going to have any trouble getting this back where it was at to begin with. Okay, we're just going to set this over on the Massey Ferguson. Basically what we want to do now is take our bolts out and pop this dash off. These are not easy to get off. What I've found is you can actually grab the front of this and pull back. I've got at least part of the dash pop loose. Working on the rest, and basically I just run my fingers up. Once I get a corner loose, I run my finger up the front parts of the dash and it'll facilitate getting it off. Okay, now we're loose. I don't know how good of a shot I'm going to be able to get of this. If anything, I'll zoom in with the camera. I don't know if that's going to come through on the camera, but I'll stop the camera here in a second after I get done talking and show you the groove. But basically there's already a cut groove here, and we're just going to trim that out and we'll be able to get that switch mounted. Okay, as promised, I've got this loose. Typically I don't disconnect everything. The big thing you want to keep track of is these. This is for your lighter. You don't want to reverse polarity that. But anyway, this is the slot that's cut, and you can go through with a utility knife and cut that out and your switch pop right in. I've already added one switch. This is for the light bar, and I'm going to be placing the USB charger here. And these are the clips that we just pulled out just to give you an idea where they're at. If you're having to pry your dash off, it always helps to know where these are at, to know where to put your fingers. And all we really did is we took out this wire here and that one, or screw, sorry. But basically those are the only two screws that hold the dash on. Everything else is clipped on. And we're just going to cut this out with a utility knife. Okay, I've got most of it cut out, and basically what you want to do is you really have to really dig and plunge this. Once you get the tip kind of through, actually kind of do a rocking action, and what you're doing is you're going to want to pry it, and what it'll do is it'll cause the tip to cut through the front. And if you do that a couple of times and just work your way down and then flip around, just do all four corners that way, the plastic piece will pop right out and it'll be a really nice finish. And this is what you should end up with. Nice square piece. And like I say, this is the factory. Basically all you're doing is following the factory mold and just popping this out. Again, you can't see it from the front, but from the back you'll be able to see where these are at. And I feel kind of bad. You know, I really meant to get this put in last season and just didn't quite get to it. Too many things to get done with getting the toy hauler and that kind of stuff ready. So I'm getting a little bit earlier jump on it this year. And basically all this is, I got this on Amazon. I'll try to put a link on it. It's just two ports. Relatively high rate of charge. I did some testing. This actually puts out 4.5 amps. This little charger here. But anyway, it's just got a little rubber cover. If you do need to clean one of these out, just use electronic cleaner. You know, get done with your washing, pop this out, use a little bit of electronic cleaner to spray in these ports, If it gets really bad, I'd recommend actually spraying it with it upside down. You don't want a whole lot of stuff going up in here. There is a board in here that actually does the conversion. Specs on the back are you know, input 12 or 24 volt, and it will output 5 volts at 4.2 amps. We should work out really well. But you know, USB chargers, I really don't like. I only have one lighter for one, but I really don't like having things sticking out of the dash. This is kind of a compromise. It should keep everything pretty compact. We're going to pop this in. But these are really simple. These are marked on the back. I don't know if you can see that there, but positive, minus. So basically we'll just hook the positive and minus up, and anytime the switch is on, which turns on the light on the switch, it will energize this. That way, this, if you have your phone plugged in, you walk away from the RZR, that way you don't end up with a dead battery when you come back. Okay, we got it in. I'm going to get the dash back on, and we'll get the windshield back on, and I'll show you what we ended up with. It looks pretty nice. It's pretty easy to use. We're just going to take a quick look at what we got installed. This is the unit. It's mounted right next to my light bar unit. One thing that I did have to go back and redo, I forgot there's actually a display here that shows voltage, and it was upside down. So if you put one of these in, make sure you check that before you get snapping in. It wasn't that big of a deal to reverse it and put it in the right way. This is what we ended up with. Basically, I'm going to turn the key on. It basically engages up. I'm not sure how well the camera's going to catch that because of the brightness, but you can see it basically turns on when the light bar turns on. And when you turn the key off, it has the accessory delay like the other delay. Anyway, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Now I've got 2 USB ports directly on the RZR, and like I said, I actually got this a year ago for Christmas, and I forgot it actually has this, but that's the power turning off and everything shuts down. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of the really first new item that I've added this maintenance season. But I've got a lot of other maintenance done. There's plenty of videos out there for this, but one of the first things I've already done as part of my heavy inspection, which is actually removing a lot of stuff, is to grease all the wheel bearings. In the next couple of videos, like I said, I've already done like the oil change video. I'll do the inspection video, and I'll also do a fairly good video of this. This is specific, I think, to the 900S 1000. The rear of these is really hard. You really need a tube and a funnel to get oil and out, and it makes it easier on all of them. But basically, this is the transmission gear lube. So this is for the rear, and the demand drive for the RZRs is for the front. You'll actually need 2 quarts of this. You'll use about 1.5 quarts or something like that. I think it's like 1.3 for the so you'll need to get 2 cans for the rear and this one. A lot of people end up changing this on accident because they take out the wrong bolt when they change your oil. But it basically, these are the same. Drain out the bottom, and there's a side fill. But I'll go over this in a future video. Probably not going to get to it today, but hopefully this helps folks out, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that helps people that are actually adding switches. Several of my friends have, tried to do the whole front switch side cut because they didn't want to actually take out the dash. You end up having to take it out anyway. It's a lot easier to get to the wiring. But they try to cut holes or get things centered and that thing, but they're already built into the RZR, and you can cut them. Anyway, hope you liked the videos. Hope everybody had a great holiday, and I'll try to get back to more regular videos now that the mega storm and the pneumonia have gotten away from me for a while. Anyway, have a good one. Thanks for watching.